10 upcoming arcade games for Switch. Let's talk about the ones actually worth your time and money. No filler, no hype, just good games that are coming soon and look genuinely fun to play. Radiant Guardians of Light is one of those games that doesn't need to explain itself. You see it, you get it, and you immediately know exactly what kind of experience you're in for. It's a classic arcade beat-em-up built around that legendary side-scrolling brawler energy, where every step forward means another fight is already waiting around the corner. The action is fast, the combat is flashy, and there's a deeply satisfying rhythm to clearing waves of enemies with style. You move through 2D stages chaining attacks, juggling enemies in the air, and pushing forward through battles that just keep escalating. On the surface, it looks simple, but once you find your groove, the game starts demanding real timing, smart positioning, and genuine battlefield control. Old school formula, modern touch, and it works beautifully. Go, go! Mr. Chickums is loud, colorful, and completely committed to being as chaotic and fun as possible. It drops you into bright single-screen platforming stages with one goal that sounds almost too simple: recover stolen eggs. But anyone who has spent time with arcade-style games knows that simplicity is almost always a trap. And sure enough, things get wild fast. You're racing against the clock across more than 100 handcrafted levels, dodging enemies, grabbing bonuses, and chasing every last second out of each run. The challenge never comes from complexity, it comes from speed, pressure, and perfectly timed movement. And on Switch, the couch co-op makes it even better, adding that chaotic teamwork energy where one wrong move can cost you everything, but nailing a perfect run together feels genuinely incredible. Instant party game, no question. Dragon is Dead is not one of those games. It throws you straight into a brutal, unforgiving world where survival depends entirely on skill, timing, and a willingness to fail repeatedly without giving up. You play as an immortal warrior called a successor, someone who simply refuses to stay dead, no matter how many times the world grinds you into the dirt. The whole concept is built around embracing death rather than avoiding it, learning from every run, and coming back sharper and better prepared each time. The class system gives you real variety to work with: the Berserker who thrives in pure chaos, the Hunter built around precise ranged attacks, and the Spellblade who mixes brutal melee combat with magic. Skill trees expand, new abilities unlock, and legendary gear starts shaping your identity the deeper you go. Every run feels dangerous and unpredictable, but when things finally start clicking, it feels amazing. Look, not every game needs to reinvent the wheel, and He-Man and the Masters of the Universe Dragon Pearl of Destruction knows that better than most. It's a tribute to the golden era of arcade brawlers wrapped inside the legendary world of Eternia, and it wears that proudly. The story kicks off with Skeletor uncovering an ancient artifact called the Dragon Pearl of Destruction, a terrifying relic capable of plunging the entire world into eternal darkness. Once that threat is unleashed, it falls to He-Man, Teela, and Man-at-Arms to step in and save Eternia before everything falls apart. The game recreates the look and feel of the original animated series with massive pixel art characters, vibrant environments that look straight out of an 80s cartoon, and classic beat-em-up combat built around powerful combos and screen-clearing abilities. If you grew up watching the show, this one hits that nostalgia nerve immediately. Mullet Madjack runs on one simple and absolutely brutal rule. You have 10 seconds to live, and the only way to stay alive is to keep attacking. Every enemy you take down buys you a few more seconds, turning every single encounter into a frantic race against time where hesitation is basically a death sentence. The whole game wraps this mechanic inside a wild aesthetic that feels like someone took a VHS-era anime from the late 80s, cranked everything up to maximum, and turned it into a first-person shooter. The speed is relentless, the neon visuals are overwhelming in the best way, and the pressure never lets up for even a moment. It sounds exhausting on paper, but in practice it becomes completely addictive. You're always chasing that next kill, that next second, that next impossible streak that somehow keeps the clock alive just a little longer.
This game blows you.
Okay, boss. Roger.
Oh, looks like it's too late to save us.
Rally racing has a very specific feeling, and Drive Rally nails it without overcomplicating a single thing. Built as a love letter to the golden era of the sport from the 90s, this game puts style, speed, and pure driving skill above everything else, leaving hyper-realistic simulation far behind. Jumping in feels natural right away because the handling is designed to be approachable from the start. But the moment you start pushing harder and faster, a real skill ceiling quietly reveals itself. Perfect cornering, tight drifting, mastering the rhythm of each track, that's where the actual challenge lives. The co-driver system adds a genuinely cool layer to everything too. These aren't just background voices filling dead air. They react to your performance, call out directions, cheer you on when you're flying, and point out your mistakes when you're not.
Get up and go!
Go! Into Red 1. Hold on to your hat. We're about to...
Oh my gosh, we're really doing this. Let's go.
There aren't many games that feel like a genuine cultural celebration, but Mariachi Legends pulls it off. Set against the backdrop of Mexican folklore and the Day of the Dead, every location, enemy, and melody in this game carries real personality and atmosphere. You play as Pablo Cruz, a detective personally recruited by Death herself, to recover a powerful amulet threatening to shatter the balance between the living and the dead. The premise is bold and the world matches it completely. What stands out most is that the story isn't just decoration here. It feels like the actual engine driving the entire adventure, pulling you deeper into mysterious lands filled with supernatural danger at every turn. The pixel art visuals are rich, the world feels carefully built, and the cultural identity woven through the whole thing gives Mariachi Legends a personality that very few games in this genre manage to pull off.
Limpiando el cochinero.
Growing up watching Danger Mouse meant growing up with one of the most charming, ridiculous, and genuinely funny animated shows ever made. So the fact that the world's greatest secret agent is finally getting his own beat-em-up is pretty exciting news. You step into the role of Danger Mouse himself and get thrown into over-the-top missions packed with enemies, gadgets, and gloriously chaotic side-scrolling action. The tone never takes itself too seriously, and that's honestly a big part of what makes it work. It feels playful and energetic in a way that stays true to the original show while still delivering actual gameplay substance. The combat is classic. Punch, kick, and battle through waves of enemies using different abilities and weapons.
Baron Greenback's hideout, please.
Computing most dangerous, it sets the wheels on fire.
Few cartoons were as gloriously weird as Toxic Crusaders, and somehow that weirdness translates perfectly into a beat-em-up. The game brings back Toxie and his mutant crew, a group of bizarre heroes who look like they crawled out of a toxic waste barrel but somehow became the planet's last line of defense. You're smashing mutated enemies, fighting through polluted streets, and battling waves of creatures that feel designed purely to make you laugh and panic at the exact same time. The combat delivers exactly what fans of old-school brawlers are looking for. Fast punches, heavy combos, and those deeply satisfying screen-clearing attacks that make you feel unstoppable for a brief, glorious few seconds. But it doesn't stop at nostalgia. The visuals are modernized with bright pixel art and detailed animations, giving every character movement an exaggerated, energetic quality that feels both fresh and lovingly faithful to the source material. Sequels to good games carry a specific kind of pressure, and Mayhem Brawler 2 seems genuinely ready to handle it. Rather than simply repeating what made the first game work, this one pushes the concept into deeper and more ambitious territory. The dual timeline structure is the first thing that sets it apart. You're not just fighting through one storyline, but jumping between two different time periods separated by 20 years. On one side, you follow powerful agents battling dangerous forces in the present. On the other, you slowly uncover how events from the past shaped everything happening now. That structure alone makes the whole adventure feel broader and more cinematic than your typical brawler. Mechanically, classic side-scrolling combat gets blended with roguelite and RPG elements, meaning every run carries the potential to feel genuinely different through new enemies, new challenges, and new upgrades.